around any of the material that we cover, right? So this is our agenda for today. So essentially what we're going to do is I'm going to tell you a little bit about kind of our company and what we do and what this course is about. And then we're going to jump into algorithmic trading. And this is basically like a nice little free session, if you want to put it that way, right? Where basically we're going to be teaching you a little bit about algorithmic trading, what it is, why it matters. And then we're going to be showing you how to use our open source library, which I believe is day 10 or day 11 in our actual class. Right. So if you take our actual class, there's a lot more that you get from it than just this. But hopefully this gives you a decent amount of free stuff so you guys can actually even start going without, before even getting into the class. Right. OK, so introduction. So first of all, who am I? So I saw a chat here. Hello. Hi. So first of all, who am I? My name is Robert, right? So why am I teaching this course? Why does this matter? So I have a master's in finance. I used to work on Wall Street for a period of time. When I worked on Wall Street, I specifically was teaching people, or sorry, not teaching people. I was running software teams, right? So I worked at a few different companies on Wall Street, some of them really, really large corporations, where the software that the team that I created and helped manage and that sort of thing and train, we built out a piece of software that I believe now has done probably around 30 or $40 billion worth of loans, right? So definitely know how to build that large scale type of operation. I was also one of the early founders of Voyager. I think that's employee number 4, number 5. And Voyager is very, very close, cross your fingers, going to be a unicorn very soon. What we are is we're a crypto broker. And basically, if you know Coinbase, you go into Coinbase, you can buy and sell Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever. Voyager is very similar. I personally think it's better. There's certain different reasons for that. Obviously, I'm biased, but we're doing very well as a company and paid off quite well. So definitely know how to build software specifically for the finance field. I've been coding for about 20 years now, so kind of gives, it kind of tells you how long it's been for me. I was a teenager when I learned how to code, so that's kind of my background there. What is Lumi Wealth? So Lumi Wealth is a company that we started about 2 years ago now, and what we do specifically is we teach people how to code for the finance industry, right? So if you're someone who wants to build a trading robot, we'll help you with that. If you're someone who wants to build code to assess, loan default rates, we can help out with that. If you're someone who wants to train your team on this sort of thing, if you're someone that works at at a bank and you want to get your team trained and learn Python and specifically how to apply it to a bank, we could do that sort of thing. So that's what we work on. That's our passion. That's what I care about the most. It's the reason why we started this company, and very deeply care about this sort of issue. As you can tell throughout my career, I've been doing this entire thing as well. So it's just an extension of that, really. Our algorithmic trading course is really what we're talking about here. Let me walk you through a little bit about our course before we really jump into this, because in this lecture, we're only going to go over really kind of like half of one day of what we do in the course, but we cover so much more in the algorithmic trading course. If you don't know how to code, we can teach you. We'll teach you if you know how to code, but you don't know Python, we can teach you that. Our goal is to make sure that you have the tools to build out these types of trading bots on your own throughout the end of this course, right? So again, whether you're a coder or you're not a coder, this course will apply to you, right? We have 3 different plans: videos only, live classes, and project help, right? By the way, these slides that we're sending out, these are going to be included on the YouTube video afterwards as well. And we'll be sending out a follow-up email with a link to the YouTube, and which is going to be recorded afterwards, or we'll have this recording. And we'll also have these slides that I was showing over there, right? So, okay, so our class, like I said, has 3 different plans. We have videos only, we have live classes, and we have project help, okay? And these are kind of the prices across the board. Videos only is kind of what it sounds like. We teach you through pre-recorded means. You can watch our videos and you can learn that way, right? It's a little bit more of the budget-friendly option, but definitely still has a lot of great content in there. I can tell you our most popular course by far is our live classes. And the reason for that is really quite simple. What it is you go into basically a live chat. We just finished one of our courses yesterday, so it's really nice seeing those alumni coming out. But it's a live class through Zoom. Everyone joins, can ask questions throughout. You're going to get to know a lot of people. So a lot like being in a class in person, right? And of course, having a class in person for something very specific like what we teach is almost impossible, especially during COVID, of course. But maybe New York is probably one of the only places, maybe San Francisco. If you don't live in those places, it's going to be next to impossible to find a course this specific, right? So teaching online really is where we are at, right? And basically you get to meet a lot of other people that are in similar situations with you. You can build projects together. You can ask questions throughout. So this is like a webinar right now in a live class environment. You also have your camera on if you want to, right? And you could just ask questions with your voice. Here it's chat. It'd be great if we could do voice as well, but I guess the features aren't there yet in Zoom. But in our live classes, we do have that. So you can ask questions if there's something that you don't understand, very easy to elaborate on certain things. And then also if you have any problems with like trying to do some of the code, we get on calls with you and we help you walk through it. So for example, one of our students, I'm speaking with him tomorrow. He's building out some code and has his own little trading bot going. I'm going to be on the phone with him tomorrow, helping him actually get the code to work, right? So this is what a live class is about. It really is a lot of that like live class environment. It's really like you're actually in a class in person over Zoom, of course, but you really get a lot of that from it, right? It's once a week, 1 hour every week for 12 weeks straight. And honestly, it's a great class. We've had nothing but rave reviews about it. If you don't believe me, join our Discord channel right here. We just created an alumni group, by the way. You can go into our general channel and there's a lot of stuff going on here all the time. There's lots of people talking. A great place to be. There's a link actually to join it here as well, Discord channel. Just click on that, you can join, right? But yeah, it's definitely a great place to be. It's great to be part of this community and that sort of thing. Yeah. So that's our live classes. Our step up from there is our project help and tutoring. If you buy this, you also get to be part of the live classes as well. And then on top of that, you're going to get lots and lots of individualized help, right? So there's people that will choose this, that want to build their own trading algorithms and like really want to have someone help out to make sure that that's working out really well, right? So it's kind of like, we'll even get developers for you on this. It'll be either myself helping you code, or we could even get some software engineers to help out with your project, right? And it's also that live one-on-one tutoring, so you really get a lot of face time, right? Okay, when you click on live classes, you'll see available dates. As you can tell, our class is starting very, very soon in January. I believe our closing date is tomorrow. Today's the 21st. So if you want to sign up for this class, tomorrow is the closing date, right, for the January classes. Other than that, we also have the March classes as well that you can join, which start March 11th, right? The other ones start January 27th. And then we're probably gonna have another class as well, probably sometime in May, probably end of April or May is most likely the next one, but we still have to plan that out. As I said, it's 12 weeks long. We recommend about 8 to 12 hours per week of like actual work. It depends on if you have a lot of coding abilities, it's probably gonna be even shorter. It's gonna be on the shorter end of that and maybe even less than 8. It really depends on kind of your skill levels. We have people that have coded Python before that are great at this sort of thing. They tend to learn this stuff really quickly and they focus more on the finance aspect and how to apply it. Whereas the people that we have another subset of people as well that are like venture capitalists and private equity guys and investment bankers that join our classes. They don't know how to code. For them, it usually takes a little bit longer to learn, right? But they obviously have a lot of finance knowledge that they can add in. So we have both groups. We have lots of coders and we have lots of people that are finance specialists. That tends to be the group that we get. And again, the live classes are great because you get to know people and you like really get to interact. The group projects are awesome. You know? So the class schedule, 12 weeks long, every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. The March classes are every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, right? Okay, and then throughout the course, to kind of talk about our curriculum a little bit, so we have 2 projects that you're going to work on throughout the course. We believe in project-based learning, right? And we've done this because we've been doing this for a long time, and we've learned that people really like building projects. So we got a chat here. What is the goal at the end of the class? What will I have learned? Yes, exactly. So this is kind of like the projects is really the goal of the class, right? So that's what we've learned over time is exactly the question that you asked, right? Like, what is the goal of this class? What will I have learned? What am I trying to accomplish? And it's to make these 2 projects, right? These are the final things that you're trying to accomplish, okay? The first one is building out a project where you can analyze investment strategies, right? Which means there's a lot of precursors you have to know to get there. You have to know how to code, you have to know how to analyze data, you have to know how to download that data, you have to know how to interpret it well. We help you build all those things up, and then you're going to have this project that you build out where you're going to be analyzing an investment strategy of your own choosing, right? So people choose all sorts of different things. In the class I just finished, we had people that chose, pivot points was one big topic that people talked about, and that was like a great way. They're actually quite. It's one of our students just started trading live, and his bot is actually doing quite well. So definitely seems to be something that's paying off. These pivot points. But there's all sorts of other things. You could analyze economic variables. You could be looking at analyst expectations. I've some people that have joined our classes. I mean, some people are like very specialized in specific things, so they want to be very good at bank stocks, for example, right? It's like one person that we're teaching he's a bank stock, or he used to work at a bank, and he wants to know how to analyze these bank stocks based on his certain criteria. So we'll teach you how to do that, how to do the analysis, and then actually back test your investment strategy to see, if you guys don't know what back testing means, what it essentially means is over the past, let's say 40 years, we'll get 40 years worth of data, test your strategy on the past 40 years. Would you have made money over the past 40 years, right? If so, then we're more confident that your strategy will make money in the future. Right? So we teach you how to do all that sort of thing, how to analyze investments, how to download data, go through that, how to back test your strategies, and how to make sure that these are strategies that are going to be making you money, right? So that's project 1, okay? Project 2 is actually building the bot, right? So I know a lot of you guys are very interested in this. There's a lot of, it's one thing to say I'm going to build a trading robot, and we have code already available for that. And I'll show you our open source project after this. You can get code, you could do this. That's not the hard part. The hard part is actually figuring out what is a good investment strategy. How are you going to apply this? How are you going to run this trading bot? That is a hard part, and that's what we really teach you throughout this course. So I have a question here. The data that we pull from to make these tools, are they typically free sources or usually tied to some subscription or third-party tool? We try to work with free data as much as possible, right? There are some situations where we'll bring up paid sources, but that is not part of the main curriculum. It is optional. If you choose to pay for data sources, that's up to you. But we work with free data sources because we don't want you to have to pay extra stuff on top of the course, right? So free data sources is what we work with for the most part. And if you choose to get other things on top of that, we'll show you how to do that as well, right? Okay, great question. Thank you. Okay, so first project was analyzing investment strategy, which means getting data, back testing it, knowing how to back test, knowing how to see if your strategy actually is going to work and make sense. Project 2 is actually turning that into a bot that can actually buy and sell stocks for you, right? So when you come out of this class, you're going to know how to analyze investments, analyze what types of things you should be investing in, and B, you're going to know how to actually build a robot to actually implement that sort of thing. Okay, these are the 2 main projects that we go throughout the course. Okay. To kind of go into the details, by the way, there's some really cool testimonials here that I recommend you guys watch. There's some of our existing students. If you go to the bottom here, testimonials actually have even more, where you could see a games trading bot in action. And I highly recommend a lot of people to watch this because it's cool how his trading bot works. And I believe he's making like close to 1% a day now, which is a lot of money if you actually do the math behind that. That's like pretty crazy, the types of returns that he's getting. All right, I have another question here, so I'm going to answer that. Okay, so another question. Does it work for Forex? Yes. So we work with across all sorts of different asset classes, right? Forex, Options is another big one that people ask about. Crypto is another big one that people ask about. We can work with anything, right? We have an open source project that's very easy for you guys to add in. Any kind of brokerages and any kind of assets that you guys want to trade in, it's very easy to extend into that, and that's a major part of the course. So yes, we're not just stocks, right? We are definitely into options. We're into Forex. We're into crypto. Anything that you guys want to be trading will help you automate that sort of thing, right? Okay, so to get into the details of the curriculum a little bit, sorry, one more question here. Futures in NinjaTrader. I'm not familiar with NinjaTrader. What brokerage services will the bot use to place the trades? How much understanding should I have? Not a programmer though. Okay, so to answer the first question, futures in NinjaTrader, I'm not familiar with NinjaTrader. I don't know. There are some brokers that have API access and some that don't. We work with obviously ones that have API access, which means you can connect to it using software code, right? Some really great brokers are Alpaca, which is the main one that we use throughout the course. TD Ameritrade is another major one that has Forex, it has futures, it has options. It's actually, in my opinion, the best brokerage in America, TD Ameritrade. You can work with Interactive Brokers. There's a bunch of other brokerages that have API access. So NinjaTrader, I'm not familiar. They might have API access, but I would have to look into that. I'm not sure, right? But there's a lot of brokerages that you can work with, and definitely the top ones, TD Ameritrade, for example, is a major one. No problem. What brokerage services will bot use to place the trades? I believe I answered that question as well, but to just say it again, there's basically any brokerage with API access is one that I'd recommend to work with. There's a lot of them, right? So some of these obscure brokerages, they might not, you might not be able to do it. But I'd highly recommend they actually move your money over to some of these other ones anyways, just because they have great services like TD Ameritrade. Like I said, I personally think it's the best brokerage in America, in my opinion, right? So it depends, right? And then another question is, how much understanding should I have? Not a programmer. Like I said at the very beginning, you don't need to be a programmer to join our course. You will definitely meet a lot of other programmers in the course. So there's, if you're a programmer, definitely we're not going to be going so slow that, you're not going to get any value from it. But if you don't know how to code, we could definitely help you out with that, right? So to go through the curriculum here, the first bits are kind of going through Python, little refreshers. If you don't know how to code at all, I'd recommend that you take maybe an extra day or two to learn a little bit of Python before you join. But again, we've in the past session that we just had, and you can go into our chat as well and just ask people. I can name a few different people that just weren't coders that joined, and now they actually know how to code. Right? It's like coming through this. Is the way that you learn how to code is by actually doing. Right? So it's the most interesting. Like the way I learned how to code when I was very young, actually, was just doing a project that I loved. I loved working on this project. It was what taught me how to code. Right? And that's kind of the same philosophy that we embody here. So even if you're not a coder, we will teach you that. And I believe we can get you really fast up to speed. And especially you're gonna be working on something that you enjoy. So it'll be something that you'll really be able to learn from this, right? Okay. Another chat here. Thank you. Okay, cool. No problem. Thank you. Great questions. Okay, so to go over our curriculum, first of all, the first class, like course introduction, it's a great way to get to know people. We do like a round robin. Everyone introduces themselves to each other. It feels very much like a community. You guys really get to know each other well. After the first class, everyone's very happy and excited. So it's definitely a great first class. And then we go into kind of, for those of you that aren't, programmers, we will teach you the Python. We go through it pretty quickly. So we have supplementary materials as well for you to go through it on that as well. And then we go through teaching you how to use pandas and applying it to finance. Pandas, for those of you that don't know, it's like Excel on steroids. It's basically the ability for you to do very complex operations with data and very large amounts of data using code, right? So imagine it kind of like Excel. It's got like rows and columns, but in code format, and you could deal with very, very large amounts of data and very complex operations. So we teach you how to deal with that. Okay? That's the first part. It's like kind of the first month. It's a 3-month course. It's one part is each month, right? So part one is kind of like getting your feet wet, getting you up to speed with Python, with data science, teaching you all the fundamentals. That's part one. Okay. Part two is really about applying it to finance, right? So it's all about how can we get data from, for example, the Federal Reserve on economics, right? How do we get Yahoo Finance data, which has options, which has stocks, has a bunch of different things, Forex. You can get a lot of data from Yahoo. We teach you how to get all these different data sources. Quandl is another main one that we teach you how to use. There's a lot of all these data sources we teach you how to use. Then we teach you how to basically do a lot of these financial metrics in code, CAGR, max drawdown, Sharpe ratio. If you don't know what that is, we'll explain to you exactly what it is. But essentially, it's a way of understanding, is this a good investment strategy or not, right? So we teach you about that. And then we really go into back testing. We really go deep into this. And we even have our own open source code that teaches you how to do this and makes it very easy for you. So back testing your strategies, again, is very important. If you're not doing it in terms of your investments, I think you're severely missing out because this is really the way that you're going to make a lot of money. And I'll show you even later on in the class, our investment portfolio has done very, very well this year. We're well over $1 million that we're managing now. And growing very, very quickly, as you'll see. It's been one heck of a year. So back testing is a major factor in that, and us understanding what should we be investing in and how do we get those outsized investment returns. Back testing is really the key there. Okay. All right. And then part three. So part one, you know the fundamentals. Part two, you know how to apply it to finance, and you come out of it with project one. Project one is finished after the end of part two. Okay. So you'll be able to analyze your own investment strategy by the end of part two. Now, part three is all about building your own trading robot, right? We're going to teach you how to connect to brokers, how to use their APIs to trade. We're going to, again, show you our open source library that you can use to make this a lot easier on yourself, right? We're going to teach you how to build this type of trading robot. And then we're really going to deep dive into some trading algorithms that actually make money and show you how we back tested them, how we run the bot, and all that sort of thing. It's not on here as well, but we'll show you also how to run a bot on a server, which is very important too, right? A lot of details, a lot of technical details about how to actually get a bot up and running and working well, right? And we'll teach you all that in this one part of the course. By the end of it as well, one really fun one that we show off, and I just did this class yesterday, is machine learning. If you guys are not familiar with machine learning, it's kind of the talk of the town when it comes to coding, and basically it's allowing you to build out something like artificial intelligence that can trade for you. And we kind of do a little overview of that sort of stuff to get you started, to get your feet wet there, right? What platform will the bot run? I'm not entirely sure what you mean by platform, but we're using Python as a coding language. You can either we're running on AWS. Yes. Yeah. So when we're talking about we're putting this bot up on a server, we're going to be running on AWS. We're not going to be running it anywhere else. Yeah? AWS makes it very easy to launch services like this. And I think it's the most popular. So we definitely use that. Right. Again, it's built in Python code. We also have our own open source libraries. We're constantly making this easier for you, and we wanted to really make this simple for you to build a bot, test it, make sure you're making money off of it, then actually launch it and have it run for you and just make cash. You have a data science background but no finance experience. Do you recommend this course or the machine learning course? I think both would be good for you. These will both be very good courses for you if you have a data science background. So if you're taking this course, if you have a background in data science, especially with Python, the first, let's say the first few weeks here, Python refresher is going to be very easy for you. Panda is going to be very easy. Pandas and finance can be very easy. But then part two, this is when you're really going to get a lot of value from it. So we had some other students that were in this course that just finished, right? Honestly, amazing programmers, some of them. It's incredible the things that they've built. And I really need him to do a video review, just because the stuff that he's built is absolutely incredible. I think he can launch his own website and make a ton of money off it. just because of how great it is what he built out. But if you're a data scientist, you'll probably go down his sort of path, where, the first few courses will be like a little slower for you, admittedly, right? Because we want to get everyone up to speed. But then in the second part, you're really going to get a lot out of it. We're going to teach you a lot of finance. It's really all about application of data science to finance. And then the last part is really about building out this trading robot. And there's a lot of details and technicality required there. So I think you get a lot out of this course if you're a data scientist. And then of course, machine learning is, everyone wants to know how to use machine learning. So that will definitely also be a great class. So should you do this one or that one? I'd say both, but it's really up to you, right? I think they'd be both great classes to go through. This one is going to teach you how to build that trading robot. The machine learning one is going to teach you all the fancy machine learning techniques on how to actually build out trading algorithms. So if you want to build out like a really cool fancy robot, I'd say take both. We could also give you a discount if you take 2 classes together. So like I said, actually, if you watch our videos for the other class, anyone who takes one of our live classes, if you want to take a second one, we give you a discount on the second one. All right. So if you want to do both, you're more than welcome to. Okay. Cool. Okay. So that's our curriculum. It's great. There's lots of great questions. Thank you for asking all these questions. So, all right. So that was kind of an overview of our class, right? And kind of what we teach. Again, if you guys are not part of our Discord channel, you really, really should join our Discord channel. I'm going to be sending out this lecture afterwards that has like the YouTube link of the recording, but then also the link to this specific, what's it called? Our slides here. Do yourself a favor, click on the Discord channel. You might even have it in your emails somewhere. This is a great, great place to meet other people, talk about this. If you're wondering about what other students are like, you can see from here what they're up to. You can ask them questions directly. There's always a lively conversation. There's been a lot of stuff around Bitcoin lately, which, I mean, who hasn't been talking about Bitcoin, right? But there's really great people there and really smart that are like, have built out algorithms, are actually making good money off their algorithms. So they're great people to learn from as well in our channel, right? Okay. And then something that I have to bring up because I always love getting feedback from you guys. So at the end of this webinar, there's going to be a survey at the end. Please fill out that survey so that I know how to do this better going forward, because I really want to be able to improve this and do these webinars better and better each time around, right? So remember, take that survey at the end, right? Thank you very much. Okay, cool. So let's get into the actual learning part of this session. So let's start off with essentially, what is algorithmic trading and why should you care? All right, so first of all, algorithmic trading, it is basically using software to analyze data and make trades. I'm going to actually move this up to the top here because I've done this a few times now, and I think this actually makes more sense. Using data to analyze data and make trades, using software to analyze data. So essentially, kind of what we discussed there, you're building a trading robot. That's what algorithmic trading is. You're going to be automatically buying and selling shares. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be executing the trades, but it could give you also trade alerts. So some of the bigger hedge funds like Bridgewater, they prefer humans actually executing trades. So that's what they do. But other ones like Renaissance Technologies, they want no humans involved at all. They basically only want robots. So it kind of depends on the flavor, right? Everyone's a little different. You can make a piece of software gives you trading alerts, right? To buy this or buy that, or you could have it actually just buy and sell for you. Okay, that's what algorithmic trading is. Yeah. So why do we care about this? Well, because there's a lot of money in it, right? Basically, the hedge fund world has been dominated by players for their algorithmic traders for decades. The top hedge funds in the world have been algorithmic trading hedge funds for a very, very long time now. I believe 2020 was the first time in like 30 years that in aggregate, traders that trade with humans actually beat out robots, which is very, very unusual, right? But these algorithmic trading robots they're very, very profitable. They make a lot of money, right? To give you a couple of examples, number one is probably the Renaissance Technologies. If you read a book by I forget who wrote it, but it's by it's called the Man Who Solved the Market. and it's about a guy named Jim Simmons, who was a mathematician, and he's the one that founded Renaissance Technologies. This guy built an incredibly profitable company. He is a multi-billionaire several times over. Who knows how much money he really has? All these guys are very secretive. But as far as we know, his fund has $110 billion in assets. And then as far as the records go back, because they closed it off and said, we don't even want new investors. They're making so much money that they don't even want people investing anymore. They only have their own money. They invest their own money. They don't want new investors. Last we know, they had $110 billion in assets, and they're making 40% return per year on average, and very low volatility around that, by the way. Okay, it's not like 1 year is 80, the other year is negative 50. No, it's like 1 year is like 35, next year is 45, next year's 30, next year's 32. Very, very consistent every single year, 40% returns for like 30 years straight. And if you do the math on that, that will make you fabulously wealthy in over a long period of time. To put that in context, Warren Buffett, like everyone considers him the best investor of all time, he has nothing compared to this guy. Jim Simmons is much, much more successful than he is. Warren Buffett over a time has made about 20% per year. Jim Simmons has doubled it. And if you guys understand the way that compounding works, double the rate of return per year really means I have almost 100 times more money than you over a 50-year time period. Okay, it is a very big difference. Jim Simmons is astonishingly wealthy and astonishingly a very, very good investor. Right, this is the man right here. Again, his firm, Renaissance Technologies, very, very good firm. But he's not the only one. There's a lot of other people like this. Two Sigma is a company in New York. Last I heard, they had 60 billion in assets. They're fabulously wealthy as well, and they're having similar returns, 30-40% a year, right? Doing incredibly well. Citadel is another one, 32 billion assets, doing very well. Bridgewater, run by Ray Dalio, $140 billion last time I checked. Also doing incredibly well. And they all believe in the same sort of thing as these algorithms, using software to help you trade, using software to help you make better decisions, and using software to automatically make trades for you so that there's no human element involved. So like when markets crash, you're not freaking out. The computers are actually doing their job. These funds are doing incredibly well. They've beat out, I mean, basically, like if you're a hedge fund and you're not an algorithmic trading hedge fund, like who are you? You know what I mean? Like you're not making much money. There's very few that are not like that, right? That are actually making very good returns, you know? And then also what comes with a lot of wealth in the industry comes with very high salaries. Starting salaries in these firms is $350,000 a year. And that's just base, right? This doesn't include bonus. So if you got a job at Renaissance Technologies, chances are you're probably making your first year, you're probably making around $1 million a year, right? That's how much money these guys are making. It's unbelievable, right? So this is why we care, right? To show you my returns. Oh, I don't know what happened here. Okay, this is, I edited this the other day, but basically this is the returns that we have in our portfolio. Maybe I can somehow reset image. I don't know why this disappeared. Undo. No, for some reason it's not there. Sorry guys, technical difficulty here, but essentially to show off our returns, what we have done over the past year, if you look at 2020, the S&P 500 over that year did about 18%. We got about 55%. So we got about triple the market over last year, right? So if you're wondering, am I just talking out of my whatever? We do have the returns to back that up. And you can actually take a look at, you know what, maybe I'll do this, and maybe this will work out better. I'll show you a live kind of demonstration of one of our accounts. Yeah. Just because the image is in there, you can see it live here. And maybe this is even more, maybe this proves things even a little bit better. But it will take me a second to get it up and running here. So I'm logging into my account. Where is this? There we go. Okay, performance benchmarks. You guys see that? Hopefully you can see that. right? So what you're looking at here, it's 55% returns compared to, or almost 57% return over the past year. That's 2020. We really didn't lose a lot of money in 2020. When everyone was panicking in March, that's when we made a killing. We made a lot of money on the way down, and we made a lot of money on the way up. And that's compared to S&P 500, which is up 18% over that same time period. So we tripled the market's returns over the past year. So just to give you an idea of the types of returns that we're making, right? Okay, cool. So to get into the code, right? And this is the fun part, at least to me, and hopefully you guys find it fun as well. Let's talk about the code, and let's actually teach you how to get something up and running for yourself. Again, this is kind of what we teach you in the second or the third part of the course, to actually how to build out your bot. There's a lot of things that you need to know before this on how you actually backtest, how to analyze things. And there's a ton of things before this, but hopefully this is like a fun thing for you guys to see. And if you know how to code, you can actually build this out yourself, right? And kind of follow along a little bit. So tools we'll be using, Alpaca is the broker that we use. We use Alpaca just because it's a fantastic broker. Commission-free trades, $0 per trade. And their APIs are impeccable. It's you can't ask for a better broker when it comes to algorithmic trading than Alpaca. They're great to learn from. They also have paper trading. So they're really great to work with. One downfall of Alpaca is they don't have futures or options or Forex. But again, we can add in other brokers to do that sort of thing. But Alpaca is the broker that we're choosing in this one, just because it's very easy to see and get going, right? Then we're also using Python 3, right? We're using Pandas, which like I said, is like Excel on steroids. And we're using Visual Studio Code, which is basically this thing here, how you're going to be actually building out your code. It's what we recommend. You don't have to use it, but it's definitely a very easy thing to use in terms of coding. Okay. So our code, so first of all, our code is open source. So, we are not making this up. We actually do know how to get this going. You could check out our open source library here. If you're going to take a look at it, we are constantly improving this thing. We're fixing bugs, we're adding features, we're constantly making this thing better. So make sure that you watch it and you star it if you're on GitHub. Watch it and star it. Because we're going to be giving you lots of updates. And if you're starring it, if you're watching it, then we'll actually, you'll get those notifications that we've updated things and you'll update your libraries, okay? So make sure that you do that if you're a part of the GitHub community, right? But our open source library here, really simple way of getting a bot going, right? We built this whole thing out. This is kind of like the little guide on how to get started. You do your pip install, you build out your config file, and then you're going to do your little bit of setup. And I'm kind of going to walk you through exactly what this looks like in real life. And this is basically, you can just follow along here, how to get started. We also tell you a little bit about our back testing and how to get that working too. Okay. So this is our open source library. It's something that we use throughout our courses, and we teach you not only how to use this, but we teach you all the fundamentals behind it and how to actually get going from this. Right. Okay. So that's our open source library. Again, we're sharing this file with you guys, so make sure you click on it, check out that library. Make sure that you, I feel like a YouTube kind of guy, like and follow. What you want to do is you want to watch and you want to star, because we'll get you all those updates and that sort of thing. Okay. This library has a lot of example strategies in there they can work with. Has several different data sources that we can pull from. We keep adding more and more. We have several different brokers. We keep adding more and more. So for you, all you guys asking, does it work with this brokerage? Does it work with that brokerage? The answer is we can add it in. If it's not there, we can add it, and we're constantly improving on this thing, right? It's easy to add your own strategy, easy to create one, and backtesting is included. We're hoping to make this open source library the gold standard in algorithmic trading. So that's what we're working towards. I think we're slowly getting there. We're still trying to build out kind of more and more features into it. I as a software developer, you never feel like things are perfect, but I feel like this is quite a strong library for you guys to work with, right? And of course, we use it throughout our courses and teach you how to use it and teach you all the fundamentals around it, right? Okay, so let's talk demo, right? So what I'm going to be demoing for you guys, and I have to sign into my account. I realize I haven't signed in yet. So this is meant to show off capability, not trading returns, first of all. Although some of the strategies that we do use, they are profitable strategies, and they're probably ones that you could use to actually make you money. And then in the course, again, we obviously go through a lot more than just this. We'll teach you all the financial data science fundamentals, how to work with all this stuff, how to research your own strategies and how to come up with the good ones, and kind of show you some examples of people that have done well. Plus there's obviously the community of other people you can learn from. And I'll be honest with you, the last course that just happened, everyone was just talking amongst themselves, trying to figure out what's a good strategy. And so far it's working out quite well. I'll tell you that much. Our students are definitely making some money. And then we'll teach you how to create and run your own strategies, of course, and that's throughout the course. Okay. I'm going to be demoing to you today three strategies actually. We're demoing a momentum strategy, which is a long-term momentum strategy. What it basically does is it looks over X amount of days, right? So I got a question here. Are the video only classes also on schedule January and March? Videos only classes you can buy whenever you want. So the live classes are a specific date. And the reason why, and it's really simple, is because the live classes, you have to attend a Zoom, right? You have to actually be on Zoom to go through and be part of this, right? So there's a set schedule, right? Like it's just not possible to do it otherwise. If you want to get the videos only, then you can buy it whenever, right? Basically, if we pay for live classes, will we also have access to videos only? Yes, you will. Yes. So if you pay for live classes, you have lifetime access to not only the videos for this class, but also future videos as well. And every semester that we go through, things keep improving. We have newer things. So if you want to even watch the newer videos, you have access to that as well. So if you buy our live classes, you'll have access to it for lifetime, and not just this class, but going forward into the future as well. Right? Okay. So great questions. Thank you guys. Perfect. What type of support do we have? We have lots of questions here. Okay. What type of support do we have on videos only classes? So obviously support is not as much as live classes. On live classes, you can ask questions and we kind of do a lot of interaction. You meet other people. If you take the videos only class, I mean, we have Discord available. You can ask questions through Discord. I'm available throughout that. There's obviously the community that you can speak to as well. So don't feel like if you buy the videos only, you're completely on your own, but you definitely don't have as much support as the live classes. I can tell you that much. And that's obviously the difference. The main difference there is that live community and the interaction. But with videos only, you'll also still have access to community. You'll be able to talk through Discord and you'll still have that sort of thing. Okay? Will there be recordings for live classes if we missed one? Yes, 100%. So that happens all the time. People get busy, work happens, whatever. If you miss a class, we send out the classes either later that day or the next day. So you can watch those live classes, right? So you don't get left behind, right? So if you miss a live class schedule, they're recorded. Yes, exactly. So you get that recording afterwards. So if you miss one, it happens all the time. People get busy with things. Like for example, a class just happened, like someone moved, right? So they were able to catch up from the recordings, right? Is there a limit of students live? What is the ratio of student to coach? So I can tell you our classes are about 15 to 20 people. We try to keep them smaller because after we get larger classes, obviously, it's not as good. Just like any school, like any university, you want to have small class sizes, and that's what we aim towards as well, right? So you'll probably have around 15 or 20 people in the class. So you get really a lot of that one-on-one time with the instructor. For this class, it's going to be myself, so you know exactly who's teaching it. For the machine learning course, it's going to be Greg. We could talk about him, and he's going to be doing his own webinar. But he's also a very, very smart person as well, and knows his stuff quite well. He's like a Stanford and Caltech grad and whatever. I mean, we have good instructors. That's kind of what I'm saying here. And we have small class sizes, so this way you can interact and really get the most out of it, right? Because if you have a question, if there's something that comes up, I am more than happy to get on a video call with you. I'm more than happy to answer you. I answer Discord messages up until like midnight every day. You know what I mean? I love this stuff. This is what I love to do. So I'm more than happy to help out as much as I possibly can, right? And if you're part of our live class, we'll get on live videos with you. You'll be able to interact with other students. You'll be able to interact during the class. You really get a lot out of it, right? It's really, we're geared towards giving you the most out of these classes, right? Okay, cool. So that's those questions. Thank you guys, great questions. Okay, so to get back to kind of our demo here. So we're going to be demoing again 3 strategies. First one, momentum strategy, which is basically buying the stock, or really any asset, but in this case, the stock, of what has done the best over a certain time period. So let's say over the past 300 days, which stock has done the best? Has it been bonds, or the US stock market, or someone else? That's basically what is there. And we buy that one and we hold it for a period of days, right? And there's studies have shown that actually works. And you could do the back test and you see that actually works as well. Intraday momentum, same sort of thing, except throughout like within a day, right? And we're saying, if this stock has done well over the past 2 minutes, then buy that stock and continue on with it, right? So for example, like some clear examples are kind of like when you see like breakouts of stocks, like some news came out and Tesla's up like crazy, then we can capitalize on that and buy it and ride the wave, right? That's the intraday momentum. And then we have diversification, which is what's recommended by Ray Dalio. And this is basically Ray Dalio's all-weather strategy. And that's basically what we do is we buy a set of assets. It's stocks, bonds, long-term bonds, short-term bonds, gold, and commodities. We buy all those in specific ratios, and then we keep that ratio throughout, and we rebalance our portfolio. And it's a great way, you'll see, to reduce the risk of your portfolio, but still maintain a very high return. And you can even leverage this and make a ton of money doing it. Definitely a very good strategy for sure. Okay, so those are strategies that we're going to be showing off. What I'm going to do really quickly, because I did not log in beforehand, I'm going to turn off my screen sharing for 1 second because I need to enter my password. So bear with me for 1 second, guys. So I'm going to stop screen sharing for 1 second, and I'm going to log into my Alpaca account. Alpaca.markets, and you guys will see this in 1 second. Sorry, it's a live webinar, so I'm a little bit, want to make sure that we are not getting hacked here. Okay. All right, so there we go. So I've logged in. Okay, let's get back to screen sharing. Okay. Okay, so screen is sharing again, and they actually changed their accounts a little bit. So this is our paper trading account. Okay. Let me sell this. We had a thing that we owned in there. Okay. All right, so this is our account. Basically, it's paper trading. It's not real money, right? So it's easy for us to demo things to you guys. When you join our class, you actually get access to this. This is free, right? They allow you to do this for free. It's very easy. This is why we use Alpaca. It's because you can actually like test your strategies, right? Before you put on live money. Very few brokers allow you to do that, especially when it comes to API trading. Alpaca allows you to do that, right? So you can actually test out your strategies, see if they work first, and then put them onto live money. Okay. So let's go here, and this is my code, and this code specifically connects to this broker, right? So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be showing you each one of these strategies working in code and then actually being executed on the broker. Okay. And again, this is also using our open source library, and it's what we teach you throughout the course. Okay. So when you go through our open source library, go through kind of the quick start guide that we have there, we'll teach you to basically get something like this up and running, right? Where we import all the things that we need to get imported at the top here. These are all our different strategies that we're importing. These are some of the LumiBot open source stuff that we need to do. So we get all that stuff in. We set up a few variables here where we're saving our logs and whatnot. We initialize our variables, and then these are our strategies here, right? We select strategies. And then we, whenever we run a trade, or whenever we turn on our bot, what I highly recommend that you do is you first run a back test, and then you start trading. And you can actually even test your back test to say, oh, what was the result of it? It was a result good. And if the result was good, actually start trading. There's 2 reasons for that. Is first of all, because obviously you want to make sure your strategy is going to be making you money, right? So like I said, back testing is a huge part of what we teach. You want to make sure that the strategies that you're doing are actually making you money, right? So that's what back testing guarantees, or actually not guarantees, but make sure more so that you get that, right? So you want to back test there. And you also want to use a back test and if you guys are familiar with unit tests or something like that, it's the same sort of thing. We want to make sure that you didn't break anything in the code, right? So you run that back test first to make sure that everything's working properly before you actually get the actual code going. So we backtest and then we check against a benchmark's performance. In this case, we're going to be using the S&P 500 as a benchmark. Okay, I think it's a pretty common one for most stock portfolios, right? So we're going to test our strategy versus the S&P 500, and then we're going to actually run the strategy and it's going to go. Okay. So I'm going to pick a strategy. So I'm going to pick momentum. That was the first one we talked about. And all you really do is we have this code here. The momentum strategy is here. This is the code for it. And I could show you, I don't think we have a time in this lecture, but I can show you exactly how this all works. It's really easy for you to get your own strategy up and running. This is kind of the code that's there. There's also one of our examples in our open source library. So you can go through it and try to understand exactly what's happening there. Again, this is what we teach in our courses is how to do this sort of thing. But this is the momentum strategy. And again, it's taking these three assets, S&P 500, VEU, which is stocks around the world, ex United States, so all stocks other than US, and then AGG, which is a bond index, right? Okay, so it's taking those three, whichever one has done the best, and over here we set the waiting period. You set this to 10, to 1, to 100, right? You could change it and make it whatever you'd like there. But essentially, this is our trading strategy. It's looking over a one-day period, which one is doing the best, okay? So now I'm going to hit run here. And while I hit run, I'm going to answer a question. This takes a little bit of time. I'll tell you about what's happening in a second. So we have a chat here. Is the backtest also from Alpaca, or so their API also has a full database of historical prices? Yeah, Alpaca gives you free data. So they're an amazing broker. Honestly, I highly recommend using them when it comes to algorithmic trading. They have a paper trading account, so you can see how your algorithm is working in real time. They have a bunch of free data that you can use from them. We're actually pulling their data for this back test, right? And they have a lot of historical prices there, and they actually even have minute by minute data, which is like quite hard to find. Alpaca is one of them. Polygon is what they use, and then there's also Alpha Vantage that has minute by minute data, and that's kind of what we're using here, right? Okay, so I ran this, and let me tell you about what happened first of all. So we ran this strategy, we did the back test, and we see that over this time period, so we picked a time period 2018 to 2019, we picked 1 year, right? Over that time period, this strategy made 7.5%, volatility of 10.5%, which gives us a Sharpe ratio of about 0.71. The Sharpe ratio I highly recommend using as an investment metric. And we can get into that in the course as to why. Over that same time period, S&P 500 did negative 3.36, right? So it lost money in that 1 year and was more volatile with a negative Sharpe ratio, right? So this is the S&P 500 was negative 3.36. Our strategy got 7.56 over that time period. Great, amazing. So we're beating them. Not only do we beat them, but we also had a lower volatility, right? So it was less stressful. And not only that, but the max loss, the max drawdown, right? So from the top to bottom, how big of a drop was it? S&P was 19% almost lost that year, whereas our strategy would have only lost 9%. So this is it seems like a good strategy, right? From our back test, okay? And then what we did is we actually now started running this back test, and we looked at these different stocks as of today. S&P, SPY has a return of 0.2. This one has a 0. This one has a negative 0.12, right? So the one that we want to buy is SPY, right? Based off of that, because it's a momentum strategy. Okay, so we can see here, put in a market order, bought all that stuff, okay, and how much we bought it for. And then we go back here, give it a second to load up. Sometimes it takes a second. There we go. We automatically bought that stock. How cool is that? We actually have a robot working for us that we tested the strategy, something that's going to make us money. And we actually executed it, and we see it actually working live. All right. So that's our momentum strategy. Okay. Now, when we cancel this, watch this, I cancel, it automatically sells everything and it's all gone. All right. So this is the code trading on my behalf. I'm not buying and selling anything. Okay. All right. Okay. So that's our momentum strategy. Now let's say we want to do our diversification strategy. This is Ray Dalio and what he recommends. And he says, buy a group of assets and rebalance on a regular basis, right? So let's run that. This is the code for that strategy. These are the specific symbols, right? We have a portfolio, SPY 30%, TLT 40%, IEF 15%. This is what's going to build out. Gold 7.5%, DJP, which is commodities, 7.5%. So we want to build a portfolio like that, right? And that's specifically what this strategy is going to build out. And it's going to rebalance on a daily basis, periods 1 day. We could do it every 10 days. We could rebalance every 30 days, whatever, right? But let's just pick one. Okay. Right, and I'm going to run this, and then we're going to talk about it. And again, because there's a question, there's several questions. So let me run the strategy and let it do its back test while I'm answering you guys' questions. Okay? So let's go here. So chat, can you run different strategies at the same time on the same broker and allocate different budgets? 100% yes. And that's actually quite easy to do. What we would do is we'd go like this. We'd go strategy 1, strategy 2. At the bottom here, we would go add strategy 1 and 2, okay? And that's the way that we would do it, okay? And then for each one has a budget, right? So we have a budget of 100,000. We could set different budgets for them as well. So yes, you could have 2 strategies running at the same time, and you can have different budgets for each strategy, right? So this is very good for risk mitigation, allocating different budgets towards things. It's very good for that sort of thing. So you can have, half your portfolio in something safer, and then half your portfolio is like buying penny stocks or something like that. You could run both of those at the same time and rebalance regularly and have the budgets actually change. We built in such a way they could do that. It runs multi-threads. And then also it will, It will monitor what stocks are part of its portfolio. So it actually measures this strategy has this much in its, has this much SPY, has this much whatever. This strategy has this much. So it's monitoring which one is very smart like that and making sure that you can run both these strategies at once, right? So I'm going to reverse that. And that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. And we actually spent quite a bit of time building that out. So I'm glad that you asked that question, because that's something that we found very important and we spent a lot of time on. And then the question is, are those ETFs? Yes, those are ETFs. And here, these are SPY is an ETF for the S&P 500. TLT is an ETF for long-term bonds, right? For some reason, these are switched. IEF is intermediate term bonds, which is like, I think, 10 to 15 years or something like that. And then gold is, GLD is the ETF for gold. DJP is a commodity ETF. And it's basically, it's got like cotton and pork futures and silver and all sorts of random stuff in there, but they're all ETFs. Yes. Good question. Thank you. Okay. So we ran that strategy. Okay. So from our diversification strategy, we see that we got a CAGR of pretty much 0, right? And again, it's that same time period when the S&P 500 was down by negative 3.3. So we still beat the S&P 500, not as much as our momentum strategy, but we still beat it. And what's very important here too, is that our volatility was very low. So we beat it. And this is like really more of like a safe strategy. If you're worried that the market is going to crash, this is a great strategy to be in. This really protects you from a lot of losses and still has very good returns. And if you actually use a little bit of financial theory and know your Sharpe ratios, you can actually leverage this portfolio and you can actually make very, very good returns off it. This is really a major part of how we run our own strategies. Is we want to be well diversified across different asset classes and across different countries. And we are, because of that, able to leverage some of our strategies a lot more and take bigger risk because we have an overall portfolio reducing our risk, right? So this is a very good strategy to go to kind of mimic and use in your own trading, right? Can these strategies run for longer term swing trades, like buying, holding for weeks to months and selling? If yes, do we need like a server constantly running, some cloud-based account, or do I need a computer that's always open at home? So yes, you could run long-term strategies. We've definitely built it for that. So it can run these strategies. There's, waits for market open, waits for market to close. It can do all that sort of thing. And yes, you're going to need to either have a computer that's on 24/7 or a server running. Actually, to be honest, you don't necessarily need that. Where there's ways around it, right? So if that's a huge problem, we can still get around that, and I can show you ways to do it. But it's definitely recommended to run it off a server or something like that, so that you can actually be monitoring these things on a regular basis, right? Hopefully, it answers your question. Let me know if that answered your question fully. I'll be watching this this chat, but it's a good question. Very good question. Okay, so we ran this back test. We could see that. So chat, yes, answer question, thanks. No problem, thank you. Okay, great. So we see the strategy worked out quite well. It beat the S&P 500. Obviously not as much as the momentum strategy, right? Momentum strategy is a little bit, can be a little bit riskier, at least in terms of this one, because this diversification strategy is very low risk, right? Which enables you to do very different kinds of things with it, right? Because it's a low risk strategy, you can actually leverage it and you can actually make a lot of money doing this, right? So if we were to back test, this is 1 year where things were down, but in a year when things are up, if you go over a long time period, this diversification strategy actually does quite well, especially when you compare it to S&P 500. And if you were to leverage it up, you actually get much higher returns to S&P 500 with lower risks, right? So it's a great strategy to use. Yeah. So in either case, that's the kind of back test results there. You can see a max drawdown. Most who have lost is 5% versus almost 20% in S&P. So it's definitely much lower risk. Yeah? And then we have a $100,000 portfolio or budget. And we said we want to do 30% S&P 500, 40% TLT, etc. When we go here, let's wait for it. Boom, there you go. Automatically bought all that stuff for us. And then to your point, can this do long-term trades? Yes. Keep this thing running and it's going to automatically rebalance for you every single day. All right. So as things change around, as things move, let's say one day the S&P 500 goes up a lot, it will rebalance it, sell some of that and buy some of the other ones and automatically rebalance for you and keep a very strong portfolio. And again, this is one of those things you can leverage this and you could really make a lot of money doing this sort of thing. Okay. And a lot of money with a low risk, right? And that's kind of like what we're all striving towards. I don't know about you guys, but our portfolio, we manage like quite a bit of money now. I am not down for taking crazy risks. You know, like I know there's some people we talk to that, you know, want to buy these holy crap kind of strategies, right? You buy something, you buy some crazy leveraged option or whatever. Like we don't recommend that sort of thing. I mean, there are times when it makes sense. And there are times when you can make money doing that. But we very strongly believe in making consistent money day after day without, you know, worrying about your house burning down. You know what I mean? So we're all about making good money over a long period of time. Can you compare it with S&P on a graph? I think SPY did better than that in the last year. I could, it would be a little bit difficult for me to actually pull it up right now, but if you want, I could send that to you. If you email me, I can get you that. I could give it to you actually over a longer time period, right? And show you exactly what it looks like. And then the thing is that you can leverage this portfolio. And that's the main key here, because if you just have the regular portfolio going, the S&P 500 sort of beats it by a little bit, right? Just because S&P 500 has been like on a tear for a long time, doesn't mean it's going to be the case in the future. But if you leverage this thing, it really, really shows you the kind of returns that you can get. It's much better. So if you want to see the returns, I can send you that. In essence, my broker account, I no longer need to do these advanced orders on a platform like trailing stops, stop limits, etc., because essentially a trading bot is doing that instead of relying on these order types on the broker. We actually use those order types as well, right? So trailing stops, stop limits, bracket orders, you could do all that stuff with the bot as well, right? The bot is fast enough to execute a lot of this stuff, right? But sometimes you still want to put in a bracket order. God forbid your internet goes out or something. We still recommend using those order types, but they're going to be much faster executed with a bot. All right. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay. So that was that strategy. We ran that. Great. Perfect. And now I'm going to cancel this and then sells everything. And you see it's all gone. Perfect. So it's all, I'm not running any of these trades. You can see me doing this. It's all through the code, right? Okay, cool. So last one I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to show you our intraday momentum strategy. And this one's always fun to watch. Okay. Save that. And then I'm going to run this here. Okay, and what this intraday momentum strategy does is essentially it's going to be, I'm going to open this up here. It's going to be buying these assets, right? SPY, GLD, TLT, MSFT, and Tesla. Okay, it's going to be looking at these 5 assets, and then based on, so this is what it is here. So let's see what it first bought, just because we have to wait a little bit of time sometimes. It bought MSFT. Why did it buy MSFT? Okay, well, the reason why is it's looking at these 5 stocks here, okay? And it's asking the question, which one did the best over the past 2 minutes, right? So it's a short-term momentum, right? So in this case, we're looking at this, SPY did 0.04, gold got 0, TLT got 0.03, MSFT got 0.04, and then Tesla got 0, right? So obviously SPY and Microsoft are very neck and neck at this point, and it must be like a rounding error almost that Microsoft won, okay? So we got Microsoft. Now we're gonna wait another minute, and this is, you never really know when it comes to these live trading things, but we will see, okay, there you go. So it ran again, okay? And now what it did is it found that now instead TLT has been doing better over the past 2 minutes, right? So it's doing this 2-minute moving window, right? So what it did is it sold Microsoft and it bought TLT. So you see that. So this is a strategy. It's like using that short-term momentum, automatically buying things. You can do all sorts of really cool stuff using this kind of technology. As I said, some of our students are using pivot points. Pivot points have been making some good money for some of these people. You could use things like analyzing news. There's all sorts of really cool stuff that you can do on this short-term kind of basis. Yeah, so LumiBot is open source. So if you'd like to mess around with LumiBot, definitely it's open source. You can get it and you can start messing around with it for sure. Okay. And of course, if you want to use LumiBot, then we also have obviously the courses that will teach you how to actually use it. It will teach you how to actually do the back testing, how to find profitable strategies, how to apply actual finance to this and make money doing this sort of thing. That's really what we specialize in. Okay. Another question, does the community have a sharing repository of different strategies? No, we don't, not yet, but we're working towards that. Where we want to get to eventually, and this is, kind of just sharing with you guys over this webinar, we want to eventually make this like really, really, really easy for you guys and have like a web-based, like a website where you can actually use strategies, pick other ones and mess around with them. We're working towards that. I think we're probably like a year or 2 away from that. So it's not going to be anytime soon. But we eventually want to make this like really easy for you to be able to take our LumiBot code. We'll have a cloud hosting service that we're working on to make it very easy to host your bots, right? And then we want to even make it simpler. We want to have things like sharing repositories for different strategies. We want to have all that kind of stuff going. And this is what we're working towards, right? Okay. And there you go. So about Tesla now. Okay. So there you go. So that's the demo of our different trading strategies. Okay. Hopefully you guys found that very informative and you found that pretty cool. Again, you can mess around with our open source projects. If you don't know how to use them, we can definitely teach you how to do that. Our videos will walk you through exactly how to use our code. And we also teach you obviously the fundamentals behind all this stuff, because it's one thing to have an open source library that you mess around with, and it's another thing to actually know how to make money using it, right? So that's basically what we teach. Is there a way to pick the symbols from Excel without hard coding in it? Yes, we could definitely pull from an Excel file. That can mean a whole host of things. So it depends on what you mean by that exactly, right? But we can definitely connect to an Excel file, pull information from it and work off of that. To be honest with you, I think we could just get rid of the Excel file. I don't think you need one. I think we could do it much better without the Excel and just in code, right? It'll probably be a lot easier for you to do. But Pandas works with Excel quite readily. So it's easy to like read things from Excel, write things to Excel or Google Sheets or whatever else. It's very easy to do all that sort of stuff, right? Okay, so that's all our stuff. I'm going to close this bot down, right? And own Tesla, and we'll see it sell everything, right? There you go. So everything got sold. Now let's go back to our webinar here. That is basically the conclusion of our webinar. So that's everything's been covered. I know you guys have been asking questions throughout. I love this. Thank you very much for that. And I love it when everyone's very active during webinar. This is great. Any last questions before we leave? You guys can type into our Q&A. So there's that little button there for Q&A, or you could type into our chat as you have been doing throughout. I'll give you guys a little bit of time to think of questions and to write them out. I'm gonna get a sip of water because I've been talking for a little bit. Feel free to ask any questions and let me know what you think. So again, if you guys are interested in the course, check out lumiwealth.com. You can go to lumiwealth.com and you can go into basically it's this first button here, get started today. This is our algorithmic trading course. Again, it's starting very soon. It's starting in January. Well, the cutoff is very soon. You can see available dates here. The cutoff is for registration is tomorrow, essentially Friday, right? If that's a huge pain, we might be able to extend it for you guys, but really that's the cutoff date is tomorrow. And the course actually starts next Wednesday, so on January the 27th. Okay, it's 12 weeks long. We will teach you all the fundamentals of Python and of data science. If you don't know that, we'll teach you that. We will teach you how to apply data science to the finance world and how to actually, so can I sign up for the videos only and upgrade it if I see it's not working? Yeah, you can definitely sign up for videos only at first. And then if you want to upgrade later on, you're more than welcome to do that. Yes, you can do that. What can I bring out of this 3-month class? So out of this 3-month class, what you're going to have is you're going to have these 2 projects, right? You're going to be able to analyze investment strategies. You're going to have a project where you can analyze an investment strategy, find something that's actually going to be working and making you money, right? So our goal is to help you find the different data sources, figure out different types of strategies and back test all that and figure out exactly what's going to be making you money and what's going to be a good strategy for you. And then number 2 is going to be actually building out this bot to be working. So after 3 months, you're going to have a good strategy and you're going to have a working trading bot. That's what you come out of this course with, right? And yes, you can sign up for videos only and then upgrade it later on if you wish. But then again, remember that our live classes start next week, right? So you would have to wait for our next cohort if you decide to go with our videos only later on. And I'll be honest with you, people definitely really like our live classes. This is something that a lot of people love signing up for. A lot of people love going through. It's very interactive and people really enjoy like the community aspect of it. Ask our students, we've had, very good reviews and I'm happy with that. We're constantly asking for feedback and we're constantly trying to make this thing better. So, that's our live classes. Cool. Any other questions? At what time zones are live classes? So live classes are every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time, right? So whatever time zone you're in, we relate to that. We make it so that it's after most people's work time, right? So in this case, it's 5 p.m. on Pacific time, which should be still good if you're working there 9 to 5, right? So at 5 o'clock, we have the class there on Pacific time, right? And then 8 p.m. Eastern time, usually that's after everyone's done working as well, right? So that's the times that we run these things, and it's every Wednesday, right? And then 1 hour per week, and it's live over Zoom, right? If you miss them, then you could also watch the recording afterwards as well. And we say 1 hour per week. Sometimes we go a little bit longer, an hour, just because we kind of get carried away sometimes. It's a very lively group, I'll tell you that much. Kind of like what you guys are. You guys are asking a lot of questions throughout, which is amazing. And so imagine this kind of live environment on a regular basis where everyone's just focused on making money and making bots. It's really a great atmosphere to be part of. And actually, a lot of students are actually making good money too. So that's always a plus. Cool. Any other questions before we end this thing? I know you guys have been asking questions throughout the whole thing, and I love this. It's fantastic. All right. Thank you for your time. Thank you for attending. Great job. Thank you very much. Remember, there's a survey at the end. Please fill out the survey so that I can continue to make these classes better and better for all you guys. And there's some questions too about like, if future classes that we want to make. There's, we keep adding to a roster of classes. So signing up, thanks. Awesome. Great. See you in the live classes. Awesome. That sounds great. I'll see you.